Next up is our SparkMe 2015 panel. The speakers are really someone you want to hear, especially if you're in a startup. Moderating this session will be Ivan, so please welcome him with a big applause.
Cool, thanks. Thank you. Don't leave. It's going to be an interesting panel. So we're going to have an investors panel, and I'm getting more chairs, right? Okay, I guess I am. So we're going to have an investors panel, and it's not going to be your typical questions, because again, the panel is named What Makes Your Startup Investable? And we're not going to, well, I'm not going to make it that easy for the investors that are going to be present. So I'd like to invite my speakers to come on stage. So are they here? Yes. So first we have Dilyan Dimitrov from 11, Tatjana Zabasu from RSG Capital. I'm guessing. Are we getting chairs? Yes, you can, I think. I'm actually kidding, but hey. Did you guys get mics? No. Mics? Well, this is going to be an interesting panel. Exactly. Okay, so first of all, guys, if you could do a short intro on where you're from and what you do while the chairs come in.
No, we can. This is better.
Seriously?
Okay, we'll just leave it.
Is that fine? Yeah, okay. Didn't?
So they said I should start. So I'm a partner in RSG Capital, which is an early stage venture fund based in Slovenia. And yeah, so we are active in the region as well. So.
Dilyan?
I'm Dilyan. I'm one of the partners at 11, and we are one of the most active early stage investors in Europe, and definitely the most active early stage investors in Montenegro. Yay!
Hi, I'm Luka. I'm another partner, but I work for a corporate incubator accelerator seed fund of Deutsche Telekom, Hubraum. That's me.
Hi, Hi everybody, my name is Nebojša. I am a general partner at Star Labs, which is a US-based early stage, very early stage investment fund investing in startups from this region of the world.
Hello, my name is Siniša. I'm an extra guy here. There's no my name, so.
We didn't forget you. We still love you. Don't you worry.
I'm working in Microsoft as a DX developer experience evangelism lead in Serbia. We are working heavily with the startup ecosystem in the last couple of 5-6 years, and especially with some, let's say, indie organizations like SCICT, Belgrade Venture Forum, etc., and trying to establishing good climate and framework for even more startups in the region.
Cool. Okay. So the usual, the logic of these kinds of panels is to ask these guys, what are they going to invest in? What industries do they like? Yada, 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 and, sorry? How they choose teams, why it's more important to have a good team than a good idea, and so on and so on. And I'm so bored with this kind of panel. I'm not going to ask them those questions. What I'm going to ask them is actually, first, one thing. What makes you guys a good investor? I'm not talking about your funds. You can have all the money in the world, you can have all the support in the world, but what makes you personally a good investor? Why? Why the fuck should these guys talk to you, right? Don't be shocked, come on.
Yeah, well, first of all, you have to ask somebody whether I am a good investor at all. But I don't know, maybe sometimes people are very, into their products or services, whatever they are developing. And, as an investor, you have to maybe ask them tough questions or challenge them, be a bit of a devil's advocate or something. So I guess that's kind of...
so you basically slap startups around. That's why you're a good investor, right?
Sort of. You can say that, but I don't know. I mean, you should talk to the people that work with me, actually. So.
Okay, I'll ask Victor. I'll ask the guys. Luka?
Yeah. tough question. Very good one. I don't know. I mean, personally, it all comes down to, in the end, if I really like a startup and I really, I don't know, feel involved, like personally part of the team, and I do everything outside of, I don't know, work time to help them out. So if they have the passion and it's matching my passion, I basically become one of the
You
team.
do get that sounds like freaking T-Mobile PR.
No, that's a different topic. So
Luka is a
T-Mobile
good
PR
investor
is,
because he's a good person. That's
yeah,
what I said.
no, not really. I mean, yes, but
No,
Okay,
not
so
really.
Luka not a
So-
good person. Tick.
yeah. No, basically, what I do is, if I really like a team, even if I cannot invest in a team, I will do everything in my power, in my free time, to help them out, and I really do care, and this is my superpower. So, no, if I really care, I don't care that much, but if I really care, I will do everything in my power.
Oh, your superpower is being nice. How cute. Nebojša, what about you?
I'm trying to help as much as I can to the startups that we don't invest, actually. And it's taking
Why
a
would
lot-
you? Why would you waste your time with startups that you don't invest?
It's not a waste of time. I think it's just, it's just helping as much people as you can is one of the, is a big part of our jobs. It's not about only working with startups that you've invested, but actually trying to help other people that I know. I mean, everybody of us here, we decide if we are going to invest in a startup or not, like in first 15 seconds when you see them. So it's not really about picking, it's not all about picking the good teams to work with. But actually, what I'm trying to do, I hope that I'm successful in that, I don't know. But what I'm trying to do is to help all the people that I meet and all the startups that I talk, regardless of whether we are going to invest in them or not. And in most cases, we don't invest. So it's like 99% of the startups that I see, we don't invest.
And what makes you the best person to make that decision? What experience do you have to say, okay, this startup makes sense, this startup doesn't?
I'm not trying to teach them. I'm just giving them my opinion, how I see the thing that they are working on. I may be totally wrong. Sometimes I am, sometimes I'm not. I'm just giving them data point, and I'm expecting from each startup that I'm talking to collect as much data points as they can, and then figure out where to go and what to do. I'm not trying to, I've never said to anybody, your idea sucks.
Even if it does.
Yeah, but I really don't know how to evaluate ideas. So I'm just trying to not to tell them that their idea sucks.
Dilyan, do you say to startups that their idea sucks?
All the time.
That's good. Why?
Well, if it
Why
sucks,
are you not a nice person like Luka is?
Well, why am I? I'm a nice person. I am a nice person, yeah? Please.
Aw.
Yeah, raise the hand. No, I'm a nice person, and that's why I tell startups that their ideas suck when they really suck. Because, I mean, startups, founders actually are delusional. I mean, in
What does
general,
that mean?
they have no connection with reality.
But isn't that, like, when we talk about ideas, startups, it's like, yeah, I'm going to change the world, I can freaking do everything.
That's exactly a good thing about startup founders. They are delusional. They believe they can change the world. But sometimes they're such dreamers that they don't give themselves a proper evaluation of what they're thinking about. So a second opinion from a more someone who's detached from their project can come handy. And we tried in the very beginning of 11 to be very nice people. So we receive hundreds of applications each time around, and we send back feedback to all that are not selected. And sometimes we are in the beginning very stupid, and we would go and rather than tell people, hey, your team sucks and you have nothing to do with the industry you want to work in and you don't know shit about it, we would be, yeah, but your market is not big enough and you haven't validated something. And these guys would go and bend over backwards in order to prove that what we told them is wrong. And actually, it doesn't make sense to lie to a startup. So if an idea sucks, it sucks. You go and tell them, your idea sucks. You can go and do it, pursue it. It's your choice. I'm going to be very glad to see you succeed and actually to prove me wrong. But seeing thousands of startups, and I'm sure Marvin can confirm that, you can tell whether an idea sucks. You cannot always tell whether an idea is great. Sometimes you find an idea, it seems great, but then it's not. But the ones that suck, they suck.
Is it then for you, well, you've never had a successful startup, right? What makes you, is it just the volume of startups that you see
What
that
do you mean?
makes...
All our startups are successful.
No, I'm not, I'm not talking about 11 startups. I'm saying like...
Me, myself?
Yeah.
Well, I have you asked me this. I have a startup. It's called 11. And me and 3 other people are running a fantastic startup.
Okay, I've been mean.
Yeah, shut up.
Okay, anyone else have a startup that I can pick on?
No, but actually running a fund or like 11 or like ours, for example, when you really are, like starting an industry in the country or in the market, then you are sort of
It's even worse than startup.
Why?
Yeah.
I mean, you're heavily funded.
We
No,
have
But
money,
still
oh
you have
no.
investors
No,
that
here's
probably
the thing.
don't.
I mean, I'm honest saying that. I mean, we are funded, right? So we are a funded startup. So we have some money, and we make mistakes, and we preach some things, and we don't always practice them. So we tell startups certain things, but then we as an organization don't apply them, day to day, and we see those mistakes, and we screw up on that. So you tell a startup, be lean, do this, do that, and then when you don't apply it in your work, you see that how it fails. So you know that you've given them good advice, but then because you're funded, you forgot to do that.
So you actually do see it in practice.
What? Yeah. And we iterate. I mean, 9 batches later, we've done 9 batches of startups, right? So we're so much better at that from the very beginning that I would say, we are a startup. We are lucky to be well funded. We are lucky to be able to iterate quickly, doing 3 batches a year, investing in 110 startups already. We've seen pretty much everything. So we are, asking me why am I a good investor? I've been an investor all my life. Okay. So 10 years out of 15 years professional experience, I've invested in things, large companies, small companies, mid companies, and startups have been startups all their lives. So when we get together, they know their shit about startups, I know my shit about investors, and I know how investors think. And if they want to fundraise, I can tell them how to cheat the system. They're a fantastic project and idea, but sometimes they're dumb enough to present it properly. So I can tell them what investors expect and how investors think and how to crack the system. And because we are now on the same side of the, of the playing field, and then all these, investors with money are on the other hand side, I can help them with kind of advice.
Because you've done it, you've actually played the game.
I've been that asshole on that other end of the line.
Don't you worry, you're an asshole now. We still like you though.
Thank you.
But okay, so we have a number of investors that are founders of funds, but like, let's ask the corporates. Like, so Luka, Siniša, you work for like big organizations. Don't hide. You work for big organizations. What makes you be able to help startups, right? Because these guys, they've done their own startup, right? The fund and everything.
So
Yeah, sorry, yeah. It comes probably to your inner core, what Luka and Nebojša said before. So basically, if I see personally that spot in the eye that I helped actually someone with advice, with a different angle, different point of view, I would not take the right and say that idea is bad, that it will go down, but I will, let's say, try to understand from where they come from with that idea, and then try to understand whether I'm probably missing something, and then after that provide different angles if I really believe that idea is not so good. So basically that's kind of, if you have that kind of soul food of helping someone, I think that makes me a good guy in this story.
Do you guys want to be liked by startups? Like, is being, on one hand, you have to be liked by startups to get approached?
no.
No? Why not?
No. We don't need to be liked. We need to be wanted by startups. It's a big difference. But just come back to this point. I mean, so you have this big gap and duality between a corporate and a startup. And let me ask you one thing, what is the biggest startup desire in the world?
To be corporate?
Exactly, to become a corporation, a huge, big corporation with a big war chest, billions and millions, and that's the thing. And so I come from a different world. I ended up in a corporation. So I'm an entrepreneur all of my life, from small things, very small, like smuggling and, doing all sorts of crazy stuff.
Next.
And combining this with and then I spent some time in corporation. Corporation has a very, it's like the army. You know exactly what you need to do, and you have one purpose: to generate revenue for your shareholders. And this is the sole purpose of a corporation. Everything else beside it, it's sort of CSR, PR, we help, la la la. This is very good, but it's a side effect. So sort of seeing things from both angles helps you sort of see what they lack and what they need to do to become one. So from that, because a corporation is a very tight-knit machine.
Yeah, but do you think they need that in the very early stages?
No, absolutely
I mean, they're
not.
a startup, so
Absolutely not.
probably 20 years down the line, they may be
Not
a
20,
corporation. So
5.
today, if they adopt corporate practices, they're dead.
You're wrong, you misunderstood me.
No, I
Not
did.
corporate practice. I didn't say
Just
that.
challenge you.
No. So corporate practice in a startup, it kills your startup in a matter of months. It's like, I want to go to Budva. No, we need to ask the, compliance unit. Compliance unit, do you comply? Do I go to Budva? So of course not. But some things, half of my
Do you have to
startups.
go through that? Do you
No,
need
no. I mean, yes, we do, because we're a corporation, of course.
You do get the compliance permission to come here?
No, I have a bulk permission for a year. But the main point here is that a corporation is still, you can look at it like a big animal that has a lot of weight. And this big animal can crush some obstacles in front of you. So this is what we bring in. So basically, we have a lot of friends. When you're a company of, 200,000 people, and a lot of, I have no idea what's our revenue in total, but very, very big. I don't know, 400 billion or something like this. And basically, you have a lot of friends. And these friends, like to help our friends. So if, you reach a certain level. So I don't know, friends from BMW, friends from Intel, Cisco, anyone that can help out at certain point, not early stage. Early stage is very sort of chaotic and mixed and very bad and messy. It's like a child, it poops, it cries, it screams. So, but after a while, it grows and it's learning. And basically we're sort of, to a certain extent, teacher. That's why, so doing something like this without the people who were not entrepreneurs before, it's not going to work anywhere. So the only way it's going to work is if you have someone with a a street mentality. I know that came out wrong.
The whole thing before
So
was like the mob.
it's actually
so.
very, very true. We talked outside half an hour ago or an hour ago about how the big corporation is there, but for whatever you have to do inside the big corporation, you have to sell idea, you have to build allies, you have to build influence, and that's actually probably the value that we can bring to the
Game of Thrones.
to the guys.
So you're looking. So basically, you should look for hustlers inside your.
No, I mean, this is the entrepreneurship. Exists inside of big corporations, huge corporations. It's called some ugly name, entrepreneurship, but
Yeah.
it exists. Basically, you need to hustle your way in. You need to hustle your way on the top. You need to, if you want to make, a project or something, you need to cheat, lie, steal, and convince other people to do something like this. And that's it. So it's just like a startup. You have a cushy job, 9 to 5, but
Yeah, but the difference is, I agree with what you're saying mostly, but in big organization, you have politics. I mean,
Yeah.
startups are all based on merit. So you build something, you add value, people pay you for that. In corporations, you may just kill a good idea because the guy wasn't politically correct in that organization, and you can, pass a terrible idea because and spend millions because someone, had the cloud of importance of some of the CEOs or C-level
But to that
executives.
point, have you had startups that have been killed because of their internal politics, where basically the relationship between the founders or the team didn't work out and it killed the project?
Most startups die because they run out of money. So internal things have little to do with that. But yeah, we've had companies die because of problems within the teams. But it's not politics. It's more. I mean, with a 5-man team, it's personal relationship more than politics. If it gets down to politics, you need to be like at least 50 to 60 person organization to start having all these intrigues and political bullshit mumbo jumbo.
Being interesting for TV series and so on.
As well.
I see that every day. My heart cries for it, but this is a sort of a.
Yeah.
It needs to change, and it is changed. Part of what we do is we have three. We always say we have 3 pillars. One is, never mind. The third one is cultural transformation, to transform a corporate, not to be disruptable in 5 years' time. Because in 5 years' time, a big corporation. I'm not talking only about telecoms, banks. I don't know, oil, everything that you see right now. In 5 years, they're dead. They're gone. They're dumb pipes. They're service providers for and nothing else. So. Part of our mission is also to help them, transform into something much less ugly.
So what kind of startups would you guys not invest in, like from the region? What would a startup have to do or be besides not having the relationships between the team set up right that would make you not invest in them if they're coming to you. So let's look at the startups. Yesterday they come to you and you say no. Why did you say no? What are the biggest hurdles?
Do you want me to answer that first?
Yeah, why not?
Shit.
So we don't want them to be invested with Hubraum or South Labs or...
No. That's what we do to startups we don't like. We send them to Hubraum. And that's what they do for us,
We send them back.
They send them back. They send out. No. That's what the investors
A couple
do.
of startups that are watching this live stream are crying now. I'm just saying.
Yeah, if you have ever been referred from Hubraum to 11 because we are more, appropriate investor, they were bullshitting you.
No, but actually this is true. Coming back to the corporate part, so we have this very, I wouldn't say laser focus, because you can invest in anything. I don't know, fashion startup. We can never invest in a fashion startup. Or, I don't know, flying drones. If I came to my LPs with a flying
anymore.
drone, they would say, Luka, those mushrooms you had in omelets this morning were bad. Seriously, so yeah, it happens. It's sort of...
Yeah, we're more flexible, totally. But, here's the thing. We are here to make money, right, for our investors.
I would hope.
And there are two kind of startups that I totally dislike and would never invest in. I mean, not total. One type I dislike, the other I would not invest in, but I like a lot. So the first one is startups that come up with the ideas that I would call them conceived in sin.
Okay.
Let me explain.
Should I ask the organizer for permission to continue, or are you going to...
No. It's there is no kind of age limit to what I'm gonna say. Conceived in sin ideas become, reality when a group of people say, hey, this fantastic lifestyle of startups, they go to conference, they pitch on stage, all these chicks are, giving them their phone numbers. It's fantastic to be a startup, so let's be a startup. And all the guys on the table agree, and they sit down and start brainstorming. What would be a great idea to pitch to an investor so they give us some money so we have a startup? So they discuss some bullshit ideas, they come up with something, and they try to find, a lot of data to validate
so living the startup life.
Exactly. So you see, this idea is not idea, born from a problem that somebody is trying to solve or somewhere existing and want to make a lot of money. They just want to, be
They
on
just want to
stage,
come to
live
events
the
like
life.
this,
Exactly.
pitch,
True.
be sexy startups.
Never gonna invest in that.
But how do you see that? It's just
It's transparent. You can see that. It's from a mile away.
Yeah, you can see that actually. It's not hideable thing.
Yeah.
Definitely.
What do you have to do with that market? Oh, not much, but we thought it's a good idea. and then the other startups we cannot invest in, but we love such projects is there are some startups which come up and they have great ideas, but it's lifestyle business. So they can make good money for themselves. They can make good money for their families. They can, make abnormal, kind of revenue for themselves as founders and shareholders of that company. But it will never grow big. I mean, it's unscalable.
So what's the limit?
Well, when we invest, we usually do, I don't know how much you invest in at Hubraum or you guys, but our valuations, entry valuations are about 300,000 euros. So if you see a startup that's kind of optimistically, best case scenario, maximum valuation is 1 million, you'll just, refrain from that. You'll not invest in it because you're not going to be able to make any return from day one. It's obvious you're not going to be able to make return. So if you see something like that, you'd encourage people to bootstrap and to do it themselves, but you cannot, just economically, you cannot invest. So this is where we would stop and we will not do it.
Interesting. Tatjana, Energy Capital invested in The Gordian, which is like an agency. So
Well, it's not. It's a part of it, which is an agency, which is our downside, so to speak. So this agency part is, not very scalable, but it's actually where the idea for the product came from. So, and the team actually worked as an agency. They came to the products that they have. So we primarily invested in the product part, not in an agency.
So basically, agencies do have potential if they develop a product, something scalable.
Yeah, I mean, just if it was just for an agency, we would not invest because it's just not, the economics don't work. Yeah.
And what else would not work for you?
Like something you said, like people that make up an idea because they want to start up life. There are people also that come with like 5 different ideas and they pitch all 5 at the same time. So this is not working, obviously, because, you know, if you want to do something with your startup, then you have to focus on what you do, not on 5 different things.
What does focusing mean for you? How do you see that a startup is focusing on that?
They're like really passionate about it, and they think about it day and night, and actually just, you know, when they see a problem, they don't, you know, start crying and run away, but, you know,
Have you
try
seen
to solve
that
it.
actually?
Well, you know, people would sometimes just give up, you know, and you can see that people are, if they're not passionate about things and they have like, I don't know, 3 side businesses that they do, they probably, you know, when the first problems come, they would just say, okay, I'll do something else.
People misinterpret the fail fast thing.
Yeah.
So fail fast means, oh, we're just gonna do it very quickly.
Okay.
You know, the idea of fail fast is fail something and try something else, right? And not just fail and quit. So yeah, fail fast is a fallacy, and people believe in that. And some people, oh, well, it didn't work, so we're going to do something else. So completely abandon this and start something. No, it's not. It's
A
not.
lifestyle business.
It's not what fail fast means. It's not what fail fast means. Never fail. That's the motto. Never fail.
Yeah, that's also like the, you know, the failure is okay. Yeah, it's okay if you learn from it, but nobody starts a business or like you don't have an idea that you'll grow, you know, believing in the beginning that you'll fail because it's just not working.
What are corporates, Luka? What do you not invest in? Besides the stuff that's not legal for you or whatever.
So, if you asked me a year ago, it would be a completely different answer. But now, I have a slide when I do a lot of presentations, internally, externally. I have one slide internally, which is a big nuclear explosion in the middle of the city, and it shows to that we need to think broader a little bit because the core business model starts to get very disruptable and very disrupted. So for us, from bitcoins to, I don't know, IoT and these kind of things, what we cannot invest or we don't want to invest is things that we don't understand and things that we have no place to be in. Fashion startup, for example. Again, it's not about fashion. It's we have no expertise here. So we, as a telecom, we have a great deal of things that we saw in the last 50 years and the last 10 years. We have units that have cutting-edge technology that is coming up. So we can help a lot, a startup, a high-tech startup with a very big or very good sort of idea or a product behind it. But a fashion startup or a lifestyle startup or I don't know, Airbnb for pigeons or something like this, we have no business to be in here. So that's one. I would completely agree with both of you. Have these lifestyle things. And actually, we did a couple of mistakes in the beginning. I mean, like you said, this is also a startup. Hubram is also a little bit like startup. So we learned a lot from the first time that we kicked in. It's natural. It's normal. Nobody was born not perfect. Know it all. And but after you learn, after you iterate, you sort of expand and broaden your horizons a little bit. So the only things that we cannot, or will not invest is the things that we have no clue about. So I have no clue about pigeons and pigeon racing, and we cannot ever, even think about this. Or, but bitcoins again. So, or
what about Bitcoin pigeon delivery?
That's it.
There you go. Nebojša, you have a little bit of more leeway as far as investments go, and not a corporate. But what would you not invest in? You've invested in startups in Croatia and Serbia.
Yeah. We have this regional focus, but it's not that important. What is important is that we are not going to invest in startups that we cannot help, and that's I think what everybody said. So we are looking into startups that we can really help. We don't know shit about hardware. We don't know nothing about games. So I don't see us that we will start investing in those kind of startups anytime soon. And then again, maybe it will change next year. I don't know. Maybe this is not something that is carved in stone. Last year we did this. This year we are doing something else. Next year, who knows? And it's normal. So it's a changing thing. But we're trying to figure out what are the startups that we can really help. So sometimes it's a good idea, it's a bad idea. But if we believe that we can help them with our process of nurturing the startups that enter our portfolio, then we invest. If it's a great startup and it's going to make 5 billion of something with bitcoins in the next 2 years, monkey coins, no, that's different. We're not going to invest in them because we just cannot help them. So we're pretty happy to pass on good deals that we cannot help.
Okay, so you wouldn't invest in someone you can't directly help, but you will help startups in general. I'm I want you two guys to be creative now. So let's go a few years in the past, and let's talk about the startup that I'm sure most of you used, but you won't say it, at least not here while it's streamed. Let's say that the Pirate Bay came in and that Peter pitched you that he has this great startup, a lot of PR potential, a lot of user engagement, very interesting from an intellectual property standpoint, and is going to disrupt a few very big industries. How do you react? What do you do? Do you invest? B, if you do not invest, how do you help them? Because again, you want to help startups. They are a startup. What's the problem? I'm especially interested in the Microsoft answer.
Yeah, actually we do not care what you do actually, but if it comes to such kind of thing, then probably we would think twice, you know. But personally, I do admire those guys like, you know, Pirate Bay, Silk Road guys even. So they are trying to move the borders somehow. They are trying to bend over the rules somehow. So those are the things that startups are doing actually.
Yeah, the Pirate Bay, it's the Uber of music. Right?
When it comes to Pirate Bay, I don't know. If they solve somehow the IP part, because I do believe that some guy who is making movie or music lives from that actually, and you know, feed their family and so on. So basically, I do not have a problem if they solve that part.
Nebojša?
I think that other way around wouldn't be good for the economy, for the local software economy of the country actually, because we are aiming to create enough startups, enough small companies that will employ enough people to live actually from that idea. So,
I think we as startups have a luxury of passing on many things, because we are not aiming to change the world. We are not aiming to, you know, make a difference in other people's lives. We are trying to help 10 companies per year, and that's it. And we can pass on, and we are passing on a lot of good deals because, I don't know, we don't like people, or we don't like this, or we don't like that. We just have a luxury.
I'm sure you like Peter. He's very interesting.
But yeah, and that's just what I wanted to say. In their case, it would all come down to them as a persons. If they click with me, yes, we would work with them. If they don't, we wouldn't. It has nothing to do with their business model or whatever.
Of course. Luka, for T-Mobile, the integration of multimedia, distribution, right? You can push them across multiple markets. Let's like a Magenta, the Pirate Bay.
So is Peter in the room? No?
I don't think so.
Good. Okay. So no, I mean, I don't know. A couple of years back, for sure, 300% they would say, "Are you insane?" You know, mushrooms and all these things in the morning. But these days, I don't know.
Why? Why is that? What changed?
Again, changing of mentality. You have this nuclear explosion happening, and shit, you know, where is the shelter? You know, so the first thing that I would come up, you know, for me, I love these concepts. Just like Nebojša said, you said, it's basically they're on the frontier of possible. What is possible? Pushing away. If you think about it, I mean, all the richest, you know, families in the world right now, there were slave traders, there were marijuana growers, there were, you know, all the things that are completely, you know, insane right now. And
so you're comparing slave trading to?
No, I'm not. So, but what I'm trying to say is that, you know, they have something. They have this natural need to change the status quo, and status quo in a way that basically hurts. I don't know, not legal.
No, but like the Pirate Bay can push like 3G and data traffic.
So for us it's very good because traffic is growing and everybody's downloading. I mean, I didn't say that right now, but so but on the other hand, you know, so the first thing that would come up with in my mind is how in the world can we work together. The first thing that would come up is can we find a way to legalize that content? Can we find a way to sort of make the people, the one, I believe that the sole reason why people pirate things is because the other way is complicated, too expensive, insanely expensive, and just too ugly. So if you have an easier, simple, more beautiful and easy to pay alternative, most of those people would just convert to the other side. I have proof. So we actually did work as a telecom with a pirate company. Sort of, they started off as a pirate company in 2003. In France, it's called Deezer, music streaming, and then they converted into legal one. Why? Because they realized, okay, that we're going to get shut down. Who's watching Sons of Anarchy here? So half of you, and they all went, legit. They tried to go legit. Why? Because you have a lot of heat from everyone. So that's the thing. We would basically try to help them, go in that direction. But I wouldn't say, okay, all of my bosses would say, never going to happen, but we would try. So, yeah.
Tatjana, the Pirate Bay comes along, based in Zagreb. They're really hard
We
working.
would probably think about it, but I don't think we would invest because it's just,
You wouldn't be able to help them. That not the core
help
industry.
them. Yeah, I mean, if they're convincing.
Look, because the
if we-
Balkans are an ideal market for an MVP. I'm sure there's a lot of potential users here, right?
Definitely. No, but
What do you mean potential?
no, it's of course. I mean, you try to help and try to maybe. I mean, you help if you think that they're interesting enough, they have not enough energy. If they come and really pitch the idea very well, then even if you cannot invest, try to do something, whatever you can. I mean, it's probably would go in the direction of making things legal.
Interesting.
Avoid.
Didn't for you, so...
Yeah, but here's the thing. If you get institutional, so if you get institutional investors, these guys think completely differently. So if you invest in Pirate Bay, and it's controversial, I don't say it's legal, I don't say it's illegal,
Really?
I have no idea.
Controversial?
Yeah, it's kind of controversially. You will always be the investor who invested in Pirate Bay. That will be the one thing people will know about you. So when you go to fundraise for your next fund, so you're able to keep doing what you're doing and help startups, most people will be, wow, these guys invested in Pirate Bay, and it's so controversial. So them writing you a 10 million euros check will be very, very difficult. So you will make a great investment in Pirate Bay. You will kill your long-term business because you are working in that world that doesn't understand Pirate Bay. So all startups will love you. They will want to come with you because of Pirate Bay.
But you won't have money.
But you will not have money to fund them.
Damn it.
This is you have to choose, and then you choose to help the many and the other thing is Pirate Bay is a bootstrappable business like many businesses are. I mean, they can generate money on day one just like this, and that's what they did.
Interesting. Coming to Boots.
If I can, there's just one thing that's being overlooked very often, and that's actually that the investors are not investing in companies; they're investing in their own portfolio. So it's not about would you invest in this or that company. It's about how will your portfolio for that mandate look, because you have like 10 or 110 companies in the portfolio, and that's a picture that investors are looking at.
What does that mean to startups?
It means a lot, because each startup should actually see what is the portfolio of an investor that they want to pitch, and to see if they can fit in that investor. If you see that investors is investing in, I don't know, only companies at certain valuations, and you are like you have like a startup that is 10 times higher valuation or 10 times lower valuation, then it doesn't really make sense for you to talk to that investor at all, because you don't fit its investment thesis, you don't fit its portfolio, and he will pass on that, not because you are good or bad or whatever, it's just you will get a pass because you don't fit with other companies that people are investing in.
Are there any questions before I continue? Yep. Okay. Oh, yeah. There we go.
So you mentioned failure before, so I have to ask, is failure a kiss of death, truly, or is it possible for a startup to reinvent, rethink, resurrect, and still stay in your good graces and receive more funding even after a failure? And if so, what do you look for in a startup that's addressing problems that they had that resulted in a failure?
Guys?
We have teams in our portfolio, and we would invest in them regardless of what they do, because it's just the good teams. I know that they will work hard, and I like them, and I like working with them, and I know that they will do, every time they will do the best they can. If they start one thing and then fail, and if they want to start the next thing, we would invest again in them. So it's really There's no universal answer to that. It really comes to, but if you're asking if a startup can fail and then start again, yes, it can and it should.
Anyone want to add something?
Yeah, there is a good reason to fail and a bad reason to fail. A good reason to fail is you tried everything and it didn't work. A bad reason to fail is you quit before it's, So if you tried everything, you learned enough. We have invested in startups in our portfolio, so they fail, they come back, we invest more. We've invested in startups that, validated 3 ideas. The 3 of them are didn't work out, but we just, in the middle of the whole thing, we kind of followed up so they can test another idea and a half. So we are very positively looking at failure if it's for the right reason, and we are really never gonna work with people that failed for the wrong one.
Any more questions? Yeah, there we go.
Hi, I'm Ivan. On the break, we spoke with Dilyan and we mentioned non-disruptive industries. So I'm interested in how we can identify them and what we can do to change the state of not disruptive industry.
Not disruptive, or that have not been disrupted?
Both.
Things like financial services.
Okay.
They're disruptible, but it takes a long time to do that and effort.
You're stumped by the question?
It's very difficult to identify something if you don't already know, if you haven't been there. So it has to come from you cannot build a startup that has nothing to do with what you have been doing before. So it's very often it comes to that case. Somebody mentioned Luka, I think. So I'm creating startups just because it's cool, and I'm going to find some idea for a startup. So if you don't already know that, if you haven't been there, it's very difficult to figure out, the thing.
I didn't get the question 100%. So you're asking about how to identify an disruptable, not already disrupted area, or?
Yeah.
So okay. So the barriers are too high. Okay. Yeah. So that's very simple. I mean, if it's very, very hard to disrupt, it means it's not ready. But the potential outcome for this is amazing. But so if the team is not 300% on this, in this area, it's a very bad sign. So 2 persons, attacking a highly unlikely disruptible industry is a lifestyle business, not a disruptible business.
Okay.
There are 2 approaches to that. One is the industry is ripe for disruption, right? So, foundations are already shaking, and so there are these huge companies which are staying in the same place, and then the world behind them is moving. So at some point of time, they lose foundation, and they're, quick and agile startups that just can squeeze in. And they may be small, they may start small, and they can disrupt an industry. The other approach is the, Elon Musk and, actually Steve Jobs way. You have a huge corporation behind you, and you go and disrupt the music industry, and you tell people you're gonna sell 1 song at a time, or you go and build batteries so people can completely get off the grid, because you have all that power behind you. So you can really disrupt an industry because you have the power to disrupt it. So, if, electricity distribution or music industry were huge dinosaurs at the time, but they weren't, the foundations were there and they were strong. So they wouldn't move unless you have a lot of force to apply. And there are other, like telecoms, which are currently, in the very shaky position, and their foundations are eroded. So it's now is the time to start disrupting and looking for ways to disrupt financial services, telecommunications. Education is something that people talk, we are disrupting education, but nobody has. And actually, it's one of those, segments. They are ready for disruption. You just need to find the proper way.
And I also think you need to know a whole lot about any industry that you're planning to disrupt, because you would not be able to identify these weak points if you are not really into this industry or know a lot about it.
So we have one more question at the
If I may just add to this, the 2 words I hate the most when I hear people talking about the startups is disruption and innovation. You don't have to innovation. You don't have to disrupt anything. You don't have to innovate. You don't have to figure out. You don't have to be Steve Jobs, or you don't have to be Nikola Tesla to innovate on electricity in order to build
And
startups.
probably they will not.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it
So
helps. But
it's-
it helps if you do. It helps.
It
if you
helps,
do.
and it happens sometimes. But you don't have to be, I don't know, Steve Jobs. You have to be Steve Jobs if you want to make an Apple, if you want to make the largest corporation in the world. But most of the startups actually don't want to do that. They don't. You don't have to do that. Yeah, that's the delusional part. So disruption, innovation, and all that shit. It's just PR for the blogs and
Hey,
media.
hey. PR for the blogs. Come on.
Yeah, but basically, if
You're
you,
media,
if you
you're
are
not a
able
blog.
if you're able to do the small things that are let's say maybe copy of something, and then adapt that to some form, and then try to learn industry context, market state, then after a year or two, probably the things will galvanize in your head. Okay, there's an innovation. I will disrupt with that, but there is a path.
Nebojša, thank you for the intro for my question here. You know that I'm Coprix Media, one of the startups here, but I really agree completely with Nebojša. Disruption is like a word that everybody uses now, but how do you perceive startups that say we're not going to disrupt education, for example, in my case, because I believe that disruption is just causing problems and attracting attention of the big guys to yourself to kick you more, but like do it under the radar as long as possible and then just swoop in while the big guys are fighting. Like it's not a disruptive model, but more of a like 10-year creating a sustainable business that's gonna take over at one point.
It's very difficult now to create a 10-year sustainable business. No, you really need to make something that will work in the next couple of months. You need to start generating some revenue and have some value captured from your customers. You don't have to disrupt anything for that, but you need to figure out what is the revenue model and revenue. I know about corporates, that's why. So you really need to figure out what is the easiest way to capture the value from your customers, because that is the only thing that will enable you to survive the next 10 years. If you're building projects, then that's like, I don't know, it's a research scientific project. It's not a company. It's not a startup. And it's okay to do that if you want to do that and have nothing to do against it.
Cool.
I strongly believe that education needs to change immediately, because this kind of education is, it's not for the 21st century. And I personally struggle to understand and galvanize the idea how to move it. Because, up to now I don't have idea how to move that old guys that are creating, programs and stuff and learning from the books and not, applying creativity and stuff, which precisely you are doing actually. So there's no answer from my side on that yet.
Cool, thanks. One last question, and then we're done with the panel. So you guys are very, very nice, very nice. But they are nice, right? Would you invest in an asshole? And by that I mean like a founder that's like too aggressive, doesn't seem like a nice person, right? So the founder of Uber is someone that the industry calls an asshole. What do you think, right? We talk about like startups need to find friends. They need to be nice enough to find allies, talk to other startups. What if the freaking founder is founders are like completely not likable people?
No.
I do,
Why? They're going to make you money, right?
I do strongly believe that being an asshole is his choice. So who cares? If he likes to be that kind of person and present themselves like that, if idea is good and I'm able to see that he is behind that idea and the idea is very true to the need, I do not care.
Okay. Do you guys care?
Well, I would have very difficult time doing that, because it's, if you invest in someone, that means you have to work with them to at least to a certain
So
extent.
I'm sure you work with a couple of assholes sometimes.
Yeah, if you have to, but you don't choose to. So
Good point.
I probably wouldn't invest.
Luka?
Difficult question, very difficult question. I don't know.
Because
I mean,
you're such a nice guy.
If you look at it, Steve Jobs was an asshole, the biggest asshole in the universe. Elon Musk is an asshole. Peter Thiel is an asshole. Every big, sort of a big figure is a hugest asshole in the world. And yeah, and in the end, okay, you have some exceptions. In the end, it's I don't know, it will be very hard to work with them, but it's all about the money in the end.
Okay, so it's business.
So
for you.
if they are very confident, and the reason why they're assholes, maybe because they know they can generate a shitload of revenue, or I don't know, returns or something like this. So
There's a lot of easier ways to make money than investing.
yeah,
in
like
asphalt.
drugs or slave trade. Or
Yeah, but I think that if you're an early stage startup, you cannot afford to be an asshole.
Why?
Because you need to get some team together with you, and you cannot buy them yet. You don't have the resources to afford great, team members. You need, a few founders.
So when they can wipe their tears with money, it's fine.
This is the moment you can convert into the biggest asshole in the world and still be successful. But very early on, it's really hard to be an asshole and actually start a company, grow a team, sell to your first customers because you do it yourself. And then if you're a founder, it's difficult to be an asshole. If you're a CEO, you can be the biggest asshole in the world. But you need to get your company to a point where you are a CEO.
Okay, so there's a point for assholeness in startups.
Yeah.
Okay,
It's
very
pretty
good
late,
conclusion
pretty
of this
late on.
panel. Cool. Thank you very much. Please, a big applause to my guests. Next lunch, right?